Welcome back to the Gaming on the Brain podcast. I'm Mark, joined as always by Glenn and Jamie.
Oh yeah.
We've got something a little bit different for you today. We're going to be discussing the Terminator franchise. We're going to talk about some of the films, our favourite and our worst, mention a few of the games, possibly talk about things like the magazines, things like that, and maybe other bits of nostalgia from the Terminator era.
Cover the whole franchise.
We'll do as best we can anyway in the small amount of time we have. So grab a drink, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. See you soon.
We'll be back.
You go gaming on the brain.
The place to start here is favourite movie, because without the movie we wouldn't have the rest of the games, we wouldn't have the franchise in totality, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely agreed.
Glenn, I'm going to have to come to you first. Tell us which one's your favourite.
The thing is,
why?
it's gonna it's not going to blow anyone away because everyone knows what it's going to be. It's going to be Terminator 2 because we're probably all going to say Terminator 2. I wouldn't be surprised because it just is an absolute masterpiece. I mean, it took the best parts of Terminator 1 without plagiarising it really, and created a massive action epic that just destroyed everything before it, really, including
we hadn't rehearsed this, but I fully agree.
I'm the same. T2 has got to be the best.
Another thing with the thing is for me, I think a lot of people, especially fans who love the series, T1 and 2 are very different films anyway. I mean, T1 being more of a slasher horror stalker film, closer to something like Halloween, really, or even Friday the 13th.
Yep.
In that, obviously, he's constantly stalking them.
That kind of genre back then as well, Cobra, stuff like that. There was a lot of those.
Oh, yeah. The Night Slasher, things like that. So they're not exactly the same type of films. So obviously, it looked when they created the second one, they looked at what made the first one amazing, took the elements they needed from that, and then created a new action film with a fantastic antagonist as well. Obviously, Robert Patrick as the T-1000 is second only to Arnie's T-800 as like in the pantheon of famous Terminator models. He's popped up in cameos and that in several films, and Robert Patrick's even done little skits and that on YouTube and other comedy sites and that playing the T-1000. So it's like a legendary character where if you look at any other Terminator film, you never see any of the other actors portraying like a skit, parody version of their character,
because they just weren't famous enough,
really.
Great,
they were still good. I mean, I like the TX, and some of them have to have good, like interesting designs and that. But that T-1000, in fact, I remember the logo of the film when it would come. Was it THX? Was that the logo?
The THX,
and that would do the melting, the liquid metal thing, and it's like that. They took that there. But the funny thing is, you mentioned another film first, T2 isn't the first film to use that type of effect. James Cameron also did Abyss, which may have been 87 or 88. I can't remember the exact date because I haven't researched it. But they used that exact same effect like a few years before
water, isn't it?
to create that water effect,
water
which is what it is. So
I think it just straight away iconically springs to mind is him walking through the bars in the prison.
Oh, that bit,
or the bit after the truck explodes and he walks out the fire. The first time you see him, the first time you see the liquid metal
when he's grabbing the car.
Yeah,
there's just iconic moments in that film.
Do you know what I love though? Where he's in the department store, or is it the arcade?
Is that when he does this? He looks at the silver.
He looks at the silver mannequin, and he's like. It's like foreshadowing.
It's
total
not
foreshadowing.
The good thing is, he doesn't do a double. If he did a double take, it would look fake. Because the TX does something similar later. In take 3, does a double take. It's like, hang about, it's a killer robot. It shouldn't be doing double takes, and he does that like look, and that's all you need, and then looks away. So it's like, as you say, it's more for foreshadowing. But for me, with T2 and all, it's in T1. It's that fantastic soundtrack.
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth. I was about to say you can't.
I'm sorry, I'm using T1 here and all because I've got to mention the soundtrack and that because obviously T1's got some great American 80s tracks as well. They're fantastic in Tech Noir, and the club play a lot. But the general soundtrack of the film as well, and the foreboding and the menace of it, and that, and with T2, like it's just each Terminator model having their own sort of very different theme, you know.
Yeah.
That plays to that character and his shape and his build, you know, like the T800 Arnie being a big tank of a man and the T1000 being like a lithe, sort of almost like cat-like, you know, and as smooth, you know, and it has that, and it just sounds like, you know, it sounds like blades being sharpened and that again things, you get that vibe from it, you know. It was great. And I've always said that because those two films, including Salvation and the Sarah Connor Chronicles, actually have good soundtracks. I've always said about those soundtracks and have made the films. I mean, they make any film.
Brad Fuller, I think it was. Brad Fidel or something. That was
I think it makes such a big impact when you've got a good soundtrack.
Well, I think if you look at recent films, Guardians of the Galaxy, what a brilliant soundtrack.
Fantastic.
You know, it does. Sometimes films don't prey on that as much, and it's a very interesting point that the Terminator 2 soundtrack was. You're absolutely right to bring that up.
The thing
it's
was
just amazing.
The thing with T2 and all, though, and again, it does involve the music, it incorporates the music, is there's so many great scenes where if the soundtrack wasn't there, it would negatively impact the scene in a massive way. It's just like when he comes out the elevator and he's walking towards the SWAT team and they start having to shoot, and it's got that like track, that increasing track playing in the background, and just the music when the trucks are chasing them, the two scenes. And just everything. Because I mean, I can't help but when I watch, like, say, T3 and Genesis and Dark Fate, I don't think they've got very good soundtracks.
No, there's not. I mean,
really does detract from the episode.
If you also look at the film itself, you had sort of Arnie leather coats, bit of grunge. You know,
that
John's got, you know, a bit sort of a kid that's a skater type kid, you know what I mean?
He's got that skater vibe going.
That's why that soundtrack matches them.
What I also loved, though, and moving away from the soundtrack for a sec, with T2 again, was that lovely sort of that camaraderie between John and the Terminator. There was like a fatherly aspect there, you know. And I mean, I know Sarah touched on it as well in the story, but you're seeing it straight away anyway. They were genuine like friends, or even father and son. And you got that amazing vibe. So when you do, like, the Terminator does, like, self-terminate at the end of the film, you're genuinely in tears, you know? I mean, and that music's playing and he's going down the thumb up. And it's just like, and John's crying, it's just amazing.
You get the thing, though, that he's not a popular kid, and he's not going to get picked on now because he's got Arnold Schwarzenegger next to him. And he uses that at certain times in the film.
But he comes out with some great little nuggets of truth. I mean, we didn't see these until you check out the was it called the uncut edition, or was it the director's cut? The one where it had the extra scenes in anyway.
I think it was just a special edition or something.
The special edition, I think it was, and that was that amazing scene where obviously they switched the Terminator's chip, you know, they switched the chip over and his CPU.
To learning mode.
To read, is that read right? Is that right?
Yeah, instead of read
only. And Sarah's going to destroy the chip, you know? And she's got a point. I mean, what she's coming across, well, there is a logical point to say, look, she said, you don't know what it's like to kill one of these things. Let's just take him out now while we can, because he might become a threat later, which I thought was really strategically valid. But John, being proven his leadership as he gets older, being able to look even deeper and go, well, you know, I mean, I just know that I believe he'll be okay, you know, and you need to start listening to me if you want us to be the leader. And thought, you know, you overruled your mom in the best way possible. She could not come back with that. So there's some beautiful acting from the whole cast.
I was going to say, actually, if you as well, like the world now, I work fibre optics and AI, and you'd be surprised how many people will say, do you remember the Terminator films?
Yeah.
Because, you know, they are just, you know, brains that are making stuff. And
do you know what it is?
It's crazy.
It does make you think, though. It does make you think, you know, as AI does get more intelligent and is allowed to make its own decisions without human input, I think that might look like
as somebody probably from the same position as you, Jamie, I'm quite technical. I follow a lot of technology news and everything, and what I read about the current like state of AI and where it's going and how quickly the development without the safeguards required. I do get a bit worried, but I also look at what it can do for us as well. As like a human race, you know.
The thing is, we don't have a choice anyway. It's moving forward.
We can't stop it. The first we'll know about it is when the nukes land, basically.
I think it's the when this is going to sidetrack it, but they talk about how it can help healthcare and stuff like that. But yeah, you're not going to stop it. The standards that are written for that kind of, for the AI bubble are kind of we'll do it anyway and write a standard afterwards. But just to bring it back to Terminator, it's, that's the theory, right? Terminator, we made something, they realised we were the problem.
Yeah.
Decided to take us out.
Before obviously moving on to Mark's choice or Jamie.
Well, I mean,
It's the same.
we probably both agreed T2, yeah.
And the thing is,
Do
obviously,
you think it's our age, though? Just as a sidetrack, because we're all very similar age, and that's. I mean, I think it's the best.
I think that's a timeless film. I think
agree.
it's timeless.
I don't think
there is a lot of films that are, and some are just absolutely not.
I've had like Logan watch it, and even Logan's been like, that's a really good film.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Ellie to watch it.
It was
She's only
just devil's
7.
advocate. Yeah.
The thing is, I can what now. It was a good
Valid
point
point,
across. But I'm with T2 as well. I mean, and again, I'm easily pleased with like what I like to say retro tech, like the older technology I love. So obviously that blew me away then, but I still love it now, seeing the liquid metal. Yes, I know it's 30 or 35-year-old now, maybe 34, 35-year-old, but it still looks great.
It does.
And it looks respectable now in 2026, you can watch it and it doesn't look, I mean, I can watch like a mockbuster from 2006 or 2016 even, right? And it'll be like dinosaurs or aliens or birds or something.
Sharknado.
And they look
Yeah.
things like that. And the effects, I mean, they're absolutely atrocious. I mean, I remember a film called Langoliers from 1996, I think it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
Decent enough film, but when they build up these Langoliers or Langoliers, how you pronounce it, these monsters, they're this and they're that, and they're whirring teeth, so you're like, I can't wait to see a Langolier. And it turns out they look like tennis balls with spindly bits on them and shiny. It looked like they were done in they were done in the look pre-Terminator 2, and this came out like 4 years after Terminator 2,
Yeah.
just one example, I just remember being really disappointed. Scorpion King, there's another example, what they did with The Rock there. I mean,
it looked very odd.
I'm not trying to make this about special effects because we'll move on and say, but it's just the fact that like an earlier film, bear in mind that still comes from Abyss, and Abyss looked great, looked just the same, 1988 I think, or 87 or 89, can't remember exactly. But the fact that there was at least over a decade there between those two films, Scorpion King and T2, and you gone, that looks absolutely atrocious, but that still looks absolutely fantastic now,
As a Star Wars fan, the only reason Star Wars was popular is because back in 1977, no one had seen anything like it. Sci-fi films of that era are pretty appalling, and that wasn't.
I've watched quite a few funny, and before we move on, I went through a phase only about a month ago where I started watching dodgy Star Wars rip-offs on YouTube just to get a vibe for like what was out there.
Is that because you watched all the dodgy Terminator rip-offs already?
Which we'll get to. And Alien rip-offs and Predator rip-offs.
Yeah.
And some of them are really like entertaining because they're shite.
Yeah.
That's because they're shite. I mean,
so bad.
I'll tell you what, it was a film, Dennis Hopper, and it was something Truckers, Space Truckers.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen it. But when Pitt said Dennis Hopper, I think of Super Mario Brothers now. Instead of all the classics he's actually been in.
Yeah.
I think before we move away from Terminator 2, we'll talk quickly about the game, which is the reason why really we're doing this episode. It was we need to do an episode on Terminator,
Me personally, I mean, I'll always want to talk about the game because I think we've all probably got a very different game that we'll have a great experience with when it comes to this.
Well, let's focus quickly first on the new game, the T2 3D Terminator 2 2D No Fate.
Yeah, No Fate. That was.
It's I got it day one, paid full price. Don't regret it at all. Takes about an hour to finish. I know,
so
Jamie, you haven't played this yet, Jamie.
I went for Cosmic Invasion instead. So.
Well, it was great. I played it on the easy setting, which I was happy with, and I was happy with what I played. I thought that was just amazing.
So for you love, with anyone that's listened to our podcast, we both do, but you particularly like an old school side scroller. So how does it hold up compared to old school? What do you think?
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I think T2 No Fate, and they said Dark Fate there. No Fate is a fantastic game to own, right? Graphics are fantastic. It's got that Metal Slug look now, so you like rotating bosses and things. And I think what was so impressive about that for me was how they get the game so fucking accurate to the film,
yeah.
with nearly every scene, even down to the scene where the security guard gets the old finger through the eye. That's in it, right?
Oh,
That is
right.
in it. I don't spoil it.
Is it cutscenes and stuff?
No,
it's
that's in game. I think you see that in game, the side view. He's shaking and everything while the T-1000's going, oh, hell, there up. And it was like, it's amazing, like the attention to detail on such little things.
Yeah.
Speaking of the cutscenes on that, they're all proper artwork from the original film, very well done with the music, the actual soundtrack.
One of my favourites on the SNES was Batman Returns, and that had a bit where you shot the
Batman.
and then you pulled the wall, which was exactly as the film.
The bit where you did the clown.
Yeah, so that was different. Yeah, I mean, that's a
good
subject.
Game, it's a good game, that one.
It basically, it's a mix of different genres in a sense, isn't it? So you've got a few levels where you typically like Contra style run and gun.
Right.
Then
there's a couple of
there's a stealthy level where you're playing as Sarah Connor escaping from the asylum, and you've got to like hide from the Terminator.
But it doesn't overwhelm me because I don't like them normally. So it's one or two, and that's it.
You've got to depend on what route, because there is a couple of routes you can take through the game depending on two decisions you can make throughout the game.
Does it have a map?
No, nothing like that.
Right.
There's I think it's 12 levels on a standard playthrough, but depending on the way you play it, I think you can get up to 15 levels.
Okay. Replay value?
I meant, put it this way, I paid 25 euros. I was going to say dollars at first, but even euros as well. I paid £25 for it from Steam, right? And I've put 5.5 hours into it. I've finished it on every difficulty, unlocked everything. Apart from playing it on the hardest difficulty to get the Judgment Day difficulty, which is even harder.
Wow.
So I've got that left to do. So I think it'll probably take us 2 attempts to get through the hardest difficulty. So by the time I'm finished,
though,
7 or 8 hours, it'll be doable, Right. 7 or 8 hours, I reckon, out of a £25 game is absolutely fine.
Control scheme, and that's great. And all
it's so sharp. 120 frames a second on your ROG Ally.
Defined, redefined. But I mean, obviously, that's a fantastic modern Terminator game in the style of a retro game. But like my actual favourite Terminator game, it isn't the best Terminator game. I know it's not really, but it's a game I've grew up and I loved because I spent so much time. It was T1 on the Mega Drive.
Brilliant game.
Bethesda game. Now it's a tiny little game. It's short. You might have played. It's got 4 levels, and there's a couple of difficulties, and they're vastly different with different weapons and routes through. So you can play the easy difficulty, which is a piece of piss, or you can play it on the harder difficulties where you just don't get the weapons.
You can finish it in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's tiny. But it's lovely. It's really well done. It's so
great music and all.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. It's got 4 levels, let's say, so it's almost set up more like what you would expect from an Ocean film license, but good. You know, it's not like you've got loads of content there from the film. It's just 4 main scenes, you know.
Yeah.
But each one's done well, and the playability is great. And the Matt Furnace soundtrack is just out of this world. Got a great soundtrack in the Alien 3 on the Mega Drive, and also check it out if you like Matt Furnace.
I've got one thing to confess now, which is absolutely nothing to do with this, and I'm glad the jar's over there. Me and my daughter went to the arcade in town and finished Golden Axe.
Which one, though?
The first one.
You did? Oh, you finally got through. Did it take about 7 minutes?
Oh, a little bit longer than that.
It was a Golden Axe version.
I'm pleased to clear.
Anyway, right, that's sidetrack. Carry on.
I'm pleased you went there, actually. Pleased you find the experience the best game ever. Well, the second best game ever. But anyway, so the first Terminator is a great game, so I've spent so much time with it, so I love it. But I do know for a fact that I haven't played it, but going by what I've seen in the reviews, I've heard that there's a Mega CD version out there which just destroys the original Mega Drive version.
I've tried. I mean, I've got it on emulation.
Tommy Tallarico music.
And I've played through the first couple of levels.
What, the Mega CD one?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I prefer the Mega Drive one so far.
They're different. They're not even the same game.
I haven't played much of it, you know.
When I first seen it, I thought it was just an upgrade, you know, like they do with Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Where they added driving levels in that and stuff.
But
it's not like its own game, really. But it looks great and it looks well polished and that, you know, the skulls in the foreground now.
I just seem to remember a lot of Terminator games, especially on the SNES, would get terrible reviews. And I have to confess, I never really bought them. Whereas I bought Alien 3 on the SNES, great reviews.
Which is different from the Mega Drive. Again,
great game, really good. And like we've gone on buying magazines and stuff. But a lot of the Terminator games in that era, for me, I never bought them because I'd read it and they'd get 60%, and I'd buy something else.
Midland. Well, I know there's Future Shock and other things in between which I've never really put the time to. There's PC
on the PC and that, yeah.
which I've never really. So I've only really got knowledge of the console games and the arcade games, which I think you'll probably want to talk about Salvation at some point.
Well, we'll get to that, yeah. I mean,
That's a good
the
game.
T2, like NES, SNES, LGN games or whatever they are. I think they're LGN, aren't they?
I think that by the same team that did Last Action Hero, so
Yeah.
the absolute pump.
Absolute trash.
Because you're playing as like Arnie the Terminator going into the bar and that, and you're getting the shit kicked out of you by the bikers and that.
But I mean, we were talking about an episode, weren't we,
Soundtrack's lousy,
about
no?
movie tie-ins that were awful, like Demolition Man.
So-
We'll purposely not go into them
No,
today
no,
because
I
they
think
hold
we'll
us back.
go
on-
for
But there
I-
was a period of time, so I'd buy a magazine, and I have to be honest, I'd read it, and I'd think, I'm not going to buy that. I'll buy Super Star Wars. It's got great
Yeah,
reviews.
good game.
I'll buy Alien 3, great reviews, but I'm not wasting my 40 quid.
I'll spend 30 seconds, but move on. Right, I'll just 30 seconds. Last Action Hero, quickly. The reason why it's shit is because Arnie says he didn't want violence.
Yeah.
He want that removed. So we'll touch on it properly in the future.
Oh, what, the
We'll
actual
watch that.
film? Oh.
For real, he says, I don't want to go there. Says, I want it to be as non-violent as possible. That's why he got
Is
with punch
it
and everything.
time to touch on the posters and stuff, where the difference between Arnie and Sylvester Stallone is a little bit of a cameo where you'd see Rambo and it was Arnie,
yeah.
T2 and it's
T2 and it was actually Stallone. I mean,
he turns around, he says, "Oh, he's great in this. He's great in that movie."
yeah. I mean, you know, they're comical moments that if you grew up watching him, you'd remember.
I hope he paused for that though. I hope it's not like a Photoshop with the deer or
No, I don't
think it
some
was.
sort of a tweaking. Like a face on the model. I hope that was Stallone, and I think he would have.
Well,
you know,
I
they
mean,
hired him just for that shot. You know,
I think they would, because
I hope you can get them promos still somewhere. That there's people out there that have that promo. Because I'd have one in here. Like,
I think they did. And if you look at, I mean, I love the Expendables films, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me,
that's what I was thinking
they're
about, yeah.
absolute throwback, just
80s throwbacks,
nonsense rubbish, but I love it. And they're all in it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Everybody,
I
at
think
some
they
point,
probably had a bit of camaraderie and a bit of a laugh
I haven't
about
seen the
stuff.
last one
Oh,
yet.
absolutely. They'll have had a right laugh making the Expendables.
What with Mel Gibson's a baddie and he's playing like just an evil version of Martin Riggs. It was like, that's great.
Yeah.
Days you went there with that, like, definitely.
We've got to, before we move on from T2 completely, we do just need to give mention to T2 arcade game, the Midway
Which I
arcade
was,
game.
yeah, well, I
'Cause
want to
that
that is a great
was a
game.
fairly
Yeah,
good
yeah,
conversions
very good,
on
yeah.
the 16-bit platforms.
It did. SNES and Mega Drive were very faithful and very
I enjoyed that.
competent conversions of an already great arcade game,
Yeah.
which you can get a one-up machine on, can't you? I think that's right.
I believe you can, yes.
Totally, yeah.
And also the, just Operation Wolf style.
That's
It was
what
two-
yeah, that's the one, yeah. T2 arcade game, yeah.
great.
Really enjoyed that.
It had some nasty bits in it though, because bit like Operation Wolf, funny enough, where you could like have an instant death almost, where you'd have to save John, and if John failed, you'd lose the credit and have to start the level again, like the truck level and that, you know. If he died, and it was quite hard looking at the videos, and I played a bit, but like.
So, okay, we've done our best. Obviously, we've got to now go with the worst. What's the worst of the franchise?
It's Genesis, Terminator Genesis, because the thing is, I don't think any Terminator film is a bad film at all. I don't think there's a bad film in the
I
series.
don't.
I think there's weaker films and stronger films. And I'm not going to put T3 there because it's short. It's not an amazing film, and
I
it
did
doesn't.
like
It a lot of people don't, but I mean, it's entertaining in a sort of popcorn throwaway kind of way. You know, you'll walk away from it going, that was decent. But Genesis, I was so for the first say half an hour, 45 minutes.
It's
Genesis,
a tale of two halves. That
it is
film.
massively. I was like so expecting. I was just like, this film's fantastic. Like, I was like, you've got a T800 who's really cool, the evil one coming back. You've got a T1000 in there. You've got, are they going to team up? Are they going to be fighting these two amazing baddies? And then the John Connor Terminator as well, maybe later.
Yeah.
And these two characters got like killed off too early. And I don't think I'm much of Jason Scott, is it?
Jason Clarke.
Jason Clarke. I just think he's not scary at all. Is this the whatever you want to call him? They call him the T3000 in some media. That's
Yeah,
what they
yeah.
refer to him as sort of officially. He never gets called that in the film. But he just talks too much, and it's like, for me, a Terminator shouldn't be.
He's still too human, isn't he?
He's too human, which I mean, look, I think it's deliberate, you know. It's
I
got
believe
to
it
be.
is,
It's got to be because
Yeah.
he's got to have dialogue.
He's like
'cause
the absolute infiltrator
Aye,
and
he
absolute
is, aye,
everything
he
at this
It's
point.
slow,
isn't he?
isn't it?
I would say,
No,
I don't
I
think
think
it's
it
slow.
starts off fast because
but then there's a point. There's the one with the motorbikes and all of that, isn't it? So
I said I think because it
No,
started
that's
on such a
Salvation.
high note.
Salvation, is it? Oh, right.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I love
It
that
started on such a high note, and then for me, it seemed to go downhill. And I thought the ending really sort of, I couldn't really get my head around it. So is Arnie's, I mean, I know they haven't followed that story anymore anyway, but has he become a T-1000? Has he just got a T-1000 arm?
He's upgraded.
I've been upgraded. I mean, what to? How? I mean, look, I'm getting geeky here because I'm getting into the techie of this fake world, right? But how the fuck can a endoskeleton robot made of moving parts and mechanics become that, like, liquid? How can he?
Yeah.
I could see maybe an upgrade from a T-1000 to a T-1001 or something, and what happened with Catherine Wheeler in the series, maybe that could work. But having like one machine turn into something that isn't even a machine anymore.
I'm assuming like his chip, the contents of his chips being downloaded into the polymetal, whatever it's called.
It's because technically they don't seem to have a chip in the normal sense.
Yeah, I assume not, unless it's like in his penis or something. Or
I think Terminator 3 suffers from the fact of how good Terminator 2 was. Terminator 3 suffers from how good Terminator 2 was, and that I was expecting more.
It could. I think the entire franchise suffers from how good Terminator 2 was.
Yeah,
I said to you only about 3 weeks ago. I says the problem with T3 for me is it's far too sporadic and rapid. It moves from one scene, next scene, next scene. There's no sort of like real development between characters.
There's no proper transitions.
There's absolutely no chemistry at all between John's character and Catherine Brewster. I think there's just no warmth or anything.
Well, it's like you said at the end of T2, you're almost crying.
Yeah, exactly. With these
it
two
was almost like it was a bit of phoned-in acting from
massively.
Them,
but also what makes it worse, and I understand where they come from because John's a lot older. There's no sort of warmth between him and the Terminator either, which I know it would be different because he's a much older lad. But I still think you could have got like a sort of brotherly maybe dynamic going there, you know, and that just isn't there at all. And so when the T850 gets destroyed at the end, you don't feel that same emotional pang that you did from T2. No. I don't anyway.
I've only watched it once.
I personally like the TX's design. I mean, I think the design's like very interesting, you know, taking the best parts of a T1000 and the best parts of like a T800 and having like bolt-on weapons and stuff and that. And they've got a little nod to Halo in there with the needler weapon and stuff.
Yeah.
There's just like the design itself.
I've always felt there's a missed opportunity with the film franchise that there isn't enough set in the future. So, well, I didn't really like The Matrix, the last two, but at least they're back where in their sort of in their base, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that they cut to scenes in most films where there's robots going over skulls and stuff like that. And I'd really like a film that showed me the war.
We've been there, right? We've talked about this because Salvation, like, without putting Salvation down, because I think it's a great film and it could have been a fantastic start with an amazing trilogy. It's not the best film for me personally, but I just love that story. That it's going there in an early stage, so you're not seeing a massive battlefield of robots and HKs and all sorts of other crap coming at you and Centurions.
Yeah.
You're seeing like a sort of small scale sort of skirmish guerrilla style combat, you know, where you get the odd little pocket of resistance and maybe one or two Terminators and maybe like the Harvester machines, which I thought were quite cool designs and that.
That was, yeah.
Something new as well.
Especially the fact that it can pop out motorbikes. It was
Terminators.
Terminators.
So you've got some interesting designs that were never introduced in like T1 and T2 sort of futuristic scenes.
I started remodelling one of them in SolidWorks, but I still fancy making one in Blender, like a Mortal Terminator.
Cool, like I still can't believe how he rides one though. It looks really uncomfortable. Like that wouldn't work.
But I do think there's a missed opportunity there to show us the war.
I don't even know why why did it fail? Why did it fail? Because it wasn't what people expected, but
I quite enjoyed.
Was people still just expecting another Chase film like 1, 2, and 3, or
I don't know. I mean, I wasn't a fan of Christian Bale's John Connor. I
like Christian Bale. I like Christian Bale.
The actor in it is good.
Sam Worthington. That poor guy died.
He died. He got killed.
Yeah,
pushed by his own car.
He did. Yeah, he was also in Star Trek. Yeah, but I enjoyed his character.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah. He was brilliant. He was probably the highlight of the film.
Yeah, I think so.
But I mean, going back to our worst. So your Genesis,
yes, just because of the disappointment, not because it's not a bad film. I'm just disappointed with it.
Well, I quite like Genesis. I definitely have to say 3's my worst.
Yeah, I didn't hate Genesis 3. It's my worst.
But like you said, it's not a bad film. It's just that out of a set of considerably very good films,
do you not think it blows its load quite early though? I mean, the big highlight of the film is the crane scene, and then after that, and that's well done. I mean, it is good.
Oh, it's a hell of a stunt.
But it's not just a quick little bit of trivia now, which is kind of, well, I think it's interesting. The crane itself is all CG. That's all CG.
Yeah.
But when I watched The Dark Knight, do you remember
That's
the bit with the
real.
truck? That's
The
real.
trucks,
That was
the
done
truck's
for real.
real,
Because they made a point of saying we did it was for real, and they were terrified that they were going to hit each side of the street when the truck flipped. So it had to be perfect. The catapult, if you want to call it, had to be perfect. So it was just an inch either way. This thing would have. So they hit that spot on because obviously T3, as I said, just did it.
It is CG, but it looks really good. Mine footage, even now it holds up. If I'm honest, like.
I think it's because it ends on a bit of note and all. You know, I mean, in a way, it just feels like
an anticlimax,
which works again because Salvation sort of follows up from that. Really, it does sort of. I mean, you've got the T1s in there, you know, the T1s, you know, we've got them in there. So there's clear attempt to sort of follow on from what T3 said, even if it's not like a direct sequel. The look at the film took some, you know.
I think when Christian Bale went into it at the time, he was such a big star, and he probably weren't the right fit.
Did you ever hear about the on-set problems that Christian Bale and that was having with some of the members of the production team?
He was getting too serious.
He was like proper going at people and that. There's stuff online that you can check it out. He's like really having a go at them.
Yeah, I can imagine
lines and stuff.
Fluffing lines and things like that. Apparently, like went proper ape shit.
I can imagine that.
But
not nice.
So you're with Terminator 3 as well, Jimmy?
Yeah, I would say I've only ever watched it once, so it wasn't that memorable to me.
It's still a good film. It is.
Maybe I should revisit it. It's not like you say. I think you're spot on, right? None of them are bad films. If it was on telly tonight when I went home, I'd put it on and I'd watch it.
Yeah, watch them all back to back. Now, Dark Fate.
I love it.
Dark Fate is a great film. See, for me, I can't help but put Dark Fate sort of online with Salvation, but there's not been able to show which one I put above the other.
I think
because they're different films again.
If I was to say my second favourite, it would either be out of Dark Fate or Terminator 1. Right, I struggle between the two of them, so I really like Dark Fate.
Well, I'll put it like stroke with Salvation as 0.3 for now, because I can't work out.
You've seen Dark Fate?
I have seen Dark Fate. Dark Fate's very good.
I love the development.
What I was trying to rack my brains is, has Sarah Connor ever been in any other films?
What, the actress?
She was in one film that I can't remember what it was.
She's like one of them stars.
Do you know what she's in?
Ever in one film.
Do you know what she's in right now? Stranger Things.
Oh, I haven't watched it.
She's been in the last season of Stranger Things. She's brilliant in it. She's been proper Sarah Connor in it.
Yeah, she's not really in a lot though, is she? Considering she's such an iconic actress,
I wonder if
such
she
an iconic role.
She made a bit of money from them two films, and she was like, "Well, I'm pretty much didn't really need to." Because some people do that, you know, they get a few million, and they're like, "Well, I don't need to be a multi-millionaire." She might have got with 10 million, you know.
Is there a Terminator film? A newer Terminator film, even Dark Fate, that you've rushed to the cinema to watch, or have you waited?
I've rushed to start
everyone.
Okay, see, the
only one I've missed.
She's been in the Terminator films, Dante's Peak, Beauty and the Beast.
She was in Dante's
Stranger Things, Children of the Corn,
Children of the Corn. I've seen her in Children of the Corn.
Osiris. That's all I've got.
I remember from Children of the Corn.
I remember in Dante's
King Kong
Peak.
Lives, Mr. Destiny, Black Moon Rising, and a few more.
She's right up there with Mark Hamill.
Apart from when you know he's the voice of the
Last Action Hero.
Also,
was she Last Action Hero?
Apparently so.
He's also
I've seen her on that, mate.
He's also in The Flash, the film, the old 80s one.
I was going to say that with Dark
Fate. She's in Gears 5, but she plays Sarah Connor in Gears 5.
Oh, as the cat. She's playing herself though.
Yeah, she plays herself in the game.
But anyway, Dark Fate though, I really again, it's sad that it hasn't got a great soundtrack. It just does take a lot away from any film. I don't know why. It's not got a memorable soundtrack. Why? So, Gabriel Luna's character, obviously the Rev 9, which is a very cool design.
He's an excellent actor. Yeah, and he plays that part really well.
He does, because he does the old Robert Patrick thing where he's nice when he needs to, which is good infiltration, and he's friendly in that. But when he like goes on, he's like,
I love that whole body's a weapon.
Whole body's a weapon.
Fantastic.
But the design of it as well. I mean, it almost takes a few elements from the TX a little bit, in that you've got something that is covered with a substance, although not polymimetic alloy. Is that saying
polymimetic alloy? Well done.
Whoa,
put it down. Well done,
mate. Liquid metal, lads. Liquid metal.
Liquid metal, like.
It's that version of the
Pastel like.
But it's carbon based, I think, this time. But then obviously you can split into like the sort of, if you want to call it the T1000 version of themselves, and like the T800 version of themselves, you've got your endo and you've got your skin bit, your living skin bit, and they both have their own strengths and weaknesses. So when they fight independently,
I think
there's different ways to beat them.
It's a fantastic design for the Terminator, and obviously makes it twice as lethal. To be honest, there's not enough scenes in a film where it utilises that double lethality thing, you know.
I think the highlight for me, though, from that film, it's not even the violent parts. I know this might be divisive for some, but personally, I really love what they did with Arnie's character, Carl. I thought you could look at it and go, well, it's just like Carl silly and lame, but it's like, I call it, there's something, again, obviously he's not infiltrated at that point, really, you know, he's become good. The fact, though, that he's learned to have a conscience, and you think, well, why shouldn't he? I mean, these things that people forget, you know, when you're looking at the Terminator, the T800 specifically, the Endos even, you just see a super soldier, you see a battlefield chassis that just shoots things and gets destroyed. They're not. Each one is like a super genius.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, these things are like, according to the Terminator law, the bloody really, really intelligent. We're intelligent, most intelligent person.
Problem solving for sure.
Eh?
Problem solving for
exactly.
sure.
Yeah,
They're like, these could, just one of these alone could, like, you know, run a battlefield, could easily be a master tactician and beyond, you know, like a mathematician, everything else, a professor, you know. So it's good to see that, like, they can also sit back and maybe think.
Just not right.
You know, you say it's AI, so it's false, it's artificial. Maybe this will happen in real life, actually. But they can think about their actions and can, by the logic of a human, that's still wrong. And I thought, you know, he actually felt like a sort of facsimile of remorse, which is what it is. And I think it's really good. I think it's like, and it built him up as a great character, and it was a really nice take on a character, because you've got to think like Linda, but Sarah Connor's always had that like dialogue with the Terminator, and obviously what she's had from T1, like with the interactions with the T1 Terminator, which are more physical, and then the interactions with the T2 Terminator where it was mistrust, and then eventually almost like a sort of friendship, you know. And it's like this has pushed it even further still, because it's like he is the actual Terminator that killed John, so it's like how the hell are we gonna get these characters to sort of interact and maybe even cooperate with each other, you know? And it just was done in such a way that it felt quite genuine for me personally.
It's coming back to where they go and find him, isn't it? And he's got a family.
Do you know, I love that development. You know? I love that scene, you know, where they're in the hangar and he's like standing against the van. I can't remember who he's talking to, but he's talking about the colour of drapes and stuff, and how you should have certain light and stuff like that.
Saying it with such a deadpan voice, and I'm very funny, and I say it's just, but you know, it's like. It just felt what for me as well. It brought some of the classic warmth back from T2.
It was clever, clever.
Because I mean, obviously you've got a few more characters. You've Grace, which is quite an interesting sort of.
Grace was good,
like a sort of Terminator, when I said, like an augmented human, you know. So she's quite powerful, and
Danny was good. Danny was good.
Was a good, interesting new take on a having. I think some people got upset because, you know, you're making it all about the women, but it's like, but the Terminator franchise pretty much has always been about the women.
We had powerful men and powerful women in there. It was a good balance to me.
I just don't have a problem with that.
It does have a good balance, actually.
It does, yeah. I mean, what more can you have than a Terminator for a start who's a man? Not Danny, sorry, what's her name? The female.
Grace.
Grace, she was powerful as hell. And then you had Danny, who was obviously the up-and-coming leader.
And she proved herself towards the end, you know. She tried to take on the damaged Rev 9 and all, you know. So, I mean, we went to pictures watch that, and I really loved it. Again, it has to be behind T2 and T1 as well, even though is it nostalgia, but T1 is just such an iconic film. And
just the posters iconic.
It is, it's just perfect. And again, the soundtrack just makes such a big difference for me. So it does have to take a step behind those two, but I can't really decide if I put T Dark Fate or T Salvation
I'd put Dark Fate.
Where I've got... So if
I enjoyed Salvation as a film.
I watched it just really like Salvation, but I can't... to be honest, I'd probably put like T2... T1 and Dark Fate side by side. Then I'd maybe say Salvation. Then probably Genesis, then 3. Am I missing any? I don't think I am.
No, six films, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's your... where were we at now anyway? Where were we at again?
Still talking about it, but why don't we take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about
the series as well, don't we? Have a chat
and some games, obviously. As a gaming podcast, we should get into some games.
And probably a quick chat, I think, about what we'll see as maybe the future of the franchise as well. Yeah.
Oh, and we'll also have a very, very quick chat about a different alternative Terminator 2. So we'll be right back.
See you soon. Quick interruption, guys, and don't worry, it's only about 45 seconds, which incidentally is about the same amount of time it takes for us to embarrass ourselves in a boss fight. Did you know Gaming on a Brain isn't just a podcast? We're on YouTube as well. Do you want to watch playthroughs? Because we've got them, with and without commentary. Perfect for the kind of person who likes to watch other people press their buttons. Or how about some Let's Players? I mean, that's just us laughing, dying repeatedly and pretending it was all part of the plan. Our head-to-head series can get very competitive and very heated, and yeah, that's where the friendships go to die. But if lists are your thing, then our hashtag 5 series has you covered. Think of it like some snack-sized reviews, but without the calories. We're working hard at Gaming on the Brain to bring you as much fun, engaging content as possible, and all we ask in return is a review, a like, a sub, or a cheeky comment just telling us how rubbish we are. And we'll probably respond as well with some equally bad banter. Now let's get you back to the podcast. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
So, boys, have you heard of the story of Terminator 2?
Well, we've just spoken about it quite a lot.
Yeah.
We all enjoy it.
No.
Is this the Italian Terminator 2?
This is the Italian Terminator 2.
Right, okay.
This is a different... In fact, this is...
Gino D'Acampo.
Imagine Gino playing a Terminator. That'd be brilliant.
This film actually came out in 1990, so it's older than the Terminator 2, that one. Made by an Italian director called... I can't remember his name. I can't remember Umberto or whatever. But anyway, I don't know. I can't remember his name. It's actually got a couple of different titles. One of which is Shocking Dark, which is what a lot more people know it as. It's actually on YouTube. If anyone wants to check it out, it's very funny. But I say it was also repackaged in some territories as simply Terminator 2, with a picture of like Arnie's sort of visage on the front. It's actually more of
Bruno Mattei.
Bruno Mattei, that's the guy. Now, Bruno Mattei actually did quite a lot of these sort of fake sequels for various other films.
Is it a spoof?
It's not a spoof. No. It's what the Italians tend to do. That the Italians have a habit of like making fake sequels for like classic, like Romero's Dead series. There's some fake Alien sequels and some fake sequels to the Demons films.
Right.
How did they get away with it?
It's to do with, the thing is the films aren't linked at all, so it's literally a title. Most times it's a title on a box. When you actually put the VHS, because that's what it would be at the time, put the VHS in the case of Terminator 2, it'll come up with Shocking Dark, and you'll be like, I'm about to tap the tape out, it's the wrong film.
Yeah.
They don't even change the title in most cases on the actual media itself. It's a cover thing, just to sell extra films. So, but anyway, the thing about Terminator 2, Shocking Dark, it's actually not really a Terminator rip-off at all. What it is, an Aliens rip-off.
Right, okay.
Where are we going?
You got the wrong James Cameron film.
It's an Aliens rip-off with a sort of Terminator in it, which technically, I mean, even Aliens had Bishop, who was an android.
I was going to say, I know we've had like crossovers between Alien and Predator, but with Terminator and Alien?
Well, also as well, like, I mean, there's a part of the film where he is literally chasing one of the main characters, and Newt, like the Newt rip-off, because there's a Newt rip-off in there.
Little girl, yeah.
Yes, in fact, he actually is more threatening than sort of aliens in the film, because the aliens just look like hand puppets. So this is a guy with like cool hair, because he's Italian, remember, right? Who like talks too much, you know. He's actually sort of like a rip-off. He's right. This is what he is, right? The Terminator in Shocking Dark is basically Burke from Aliens.
I thought you were going to say Burke from Trapdoor.
Burke from Trapdoor, Crash with Boney. Burke from Aliens, who was like the evil company man, right?
Yeah.
Remember, he was soft as shite. Burke from Aliens crossed with Ash from Alien. Yep, the Ian Holmes sort of evil android from the first Alien film. Also this dash of Terminator, because he's like chases people around and stuff. But I mean, just to talk about, so anyway, so it's got terrible effects. It's set in Venice, obviously, it's Italian. So it's couldn't.
So instead of falling in lava, he falls in the canal.
Into the eye.
I honestly have no idea where this is going. So
there's gondolas everywhere and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, naturally.
I'll basically skip to the end, right? So basically, the ending of the film is right that he chases Sarah, or whatever she's called, but Sarah and Newt will call them. He chases the main characters into like a factory, so almost like a little bit of a nod back to maybe T1 maybe.
Yeah, okay.
And Sarah squirts him. Squirts him with a fire extinguisher right in his face. He's like,
does he freeze?
He doesn't freeze and he doesn't shatter it, right?
Right.
Squirts him in the face with a fire extinguisher, right? So exactly like a T800 would do. He's like screaming and covering his face. I mean, I don't know if a person would do that, in honest.
No,
like,
probably not.
Affected your sight. But anyway, and then he like hits a railing and he falls over the railing and he does the old drop of death, but he like bangs his head and his head shoots off. Right? And this is all in frame, right? But when he hits the deck, his head's magically back on. So he's actually beyond a T800. He's maybe like more powerful than a T1000 in that his head can actually reattach in flight.
Instantly.
No, I think it reattached, bounced off and just reattached when it hit the floor. But
So it's like magnetism.
maybe, because it's just already on. So it's actually reattached during the flight.
What's really worrying me here is you actually sound like you enjoyed it.
I did. I loved it. Probably glad. This is the thing. The thing about the Bruno Mattei films, they're like terrible, but they're so terrible that they are funny.
Like Deadly Prey.
Yeah, Deadly Prey. Yeah, on that level, although that's great. But no, it's on that level of craziness.
Were there any games that did the crossover tie-in?
Yeah, there was.
RoboCop
versus Terminator, which was
which we'll have to talk about quickly now. Yeah, what a brilliant game that is.
Well, there's a few different versions for obviously the 8-bit consoles and all, but a lot of people talk about the SNES and the Mega Drive.
Yeah,
and they do look cosmetically similar, but gameplay-wise, actually quite different.
Yeah,
with the Mega Drive being the much better game, apparently. I've never played them, but they look fantastic. I mean, the graphics are nice and chunky.
A lot of gore in it as well.
Yeah. But Mega Drive version only though.
Yeah, Mega Drive one. Yeah, I obviously.
But they're quite late.
I thought there was a crossover games. Yeah, I was pretty sure there was.
It's worth firing up on emulation.
Yeah, I might have a go on that.
I keep thinking there was another one and all that. Was there ever an Aliens versus Terminator game? I don't think there was.
If it was, I'm not aware of it.
Well, I mean, there's the film.
There was a comic, I think.
Well, there's a comic series. The thing is, I've never read the comics personally, and I don't know much about them. I think it's quite a big series, but I do know. I don't think I'd really enjoy it because it sounds like one thing I did read about them was that there's like Terminator cities where they've got like.
See, I think I'd enjoy that.
Well, they're like it's run by Terminators, and they've all got like different jobs and occupations. It's like, well, at that time when I read about that, it sounded silly, but maybe now after like Dark Fate, you start to think, well, maybe it could work if they're like.
Do you know? I said earlier on,
so it may work.
Is there a film that shows you that part of it?
Yeah,
that to me, and also I haven't read the comics, but you could make a brilliant Judge Dredd version of the Terminator comics.
Oh,
they could be gory, they could be brilliant. I reckon.
I did see some of the artwork from one of these comics, and it shows you like a T800 Endo with a chef's hat on.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, do you know what I mean? So I'm assuming he's like,
So
he works
he
for
is Gino De Campo, to be clear.
So this is what I mean. But I think our main feature of this part is talking about the series.
Well, before we get to that, there's another series that we actually haven't thought about. Have you watched the Netflix Terminator Zero yet?
Oh, Christ!
I did.
No,
it was good.
I've heard good things about that. That's not the animation.
That's the anime one, yeah, and it was very good.
I've heard really good.
I know it's a different subject.
Does Timothy Oliphant have some part of that?
I might do.
Oh no, he's in the new Alien Earth.
Yeah, he's Alien Earth. That's right.
And he's an android, isn't it?
Yeah, he's good in that.
Very good.
Good series.
That's probably what you talk about. Actually,
yeah, but Terminator Zero was it was good. I think it was something like 10 parts, maybe 25 minutes.
What is that then? Is that based before Terminator 1?
Is it anime?
No, it was. I don't think it's based before Terminator 1, but it's in like Japan. And there's like a family basically. It's I can't remember the guy's name, but he's essentially he's trying to basically cater for some AI that he's created that wants him to do certain things, and it's quite a lot of plot to get into. But basically, a Terminator gets sent back to chase his family and kill the guy and stuff.
But so it's like, taking it forward then to AI and stuff then,
yeah. So I mean,
it's recent and all.
It's a whole new story in like the Terminator universe, essentially, But it's definitely worth checking out. The problem is I watched a lot of it while I was like kind of doing other stuff, so my focus wasn't completely on it. But it was good.
Predator Badlands, which is a sort of story set in the Predator thing. That
I really get around with I want to get around with I.
I watched that Terminator
she's an
anime.
android.
the Terminator anime, that was the 3-part one. Like, it was. I watched it on a plane when I was going to America recently. Can't remember what it was on or what it's called, but it's like it was an anime, and it was 3 separate stories, but all the 3 stories converged at the end because the Predators were going back to like different time periods.
Oh, I
and
did watch
finding
that.
like the biggest,
Yes,
like champions, fighting the champions.
Yeah, no, that was really good.
Is
stuff.
one set in feudal Japan or something, and there's one set in like Aztec times, possibly?
Something like that.
Yes.
I got that right.
So I watched that, and that Badlands is similar-ish.
Yeah.
But it's a very
Well, I enjoyed
very
Prey.
was good.
I enjoyed the Prey film. That was quite good.
Yeah.
But back to Terminator before we wander down too many rabbit holes. Because we're into the war
Like
now.
doing that, don't we? We're all right.
Yeah, but they're all that time era for us. You know, Predator, Terminator,
Commando.
Aliens. You know,
Running Man.
Commando. Yeah, Running Man.
Which the new film was great, in my own
It
opinion.
was
good.
amazing. Really
It
good.
was good.
But Sarah Connor Chronicles, Glenn.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm in the middle of watching them again. I was hoping to have got the full 2 series watched in time. It's not the case, so there's still 3 discs to go through. I watched them probably about maybe close to 10 years ago now, and I really enjoyed them, but couldn't remember much about them. But it's a really well done series. I mean, it fleshes out the Terminators as well, which is several different kinds of Terminator in it. Some of them you don't find about straight away, so it's got its own secret, like a lot of mystery surrounded. Some great characters. I'm not too keen on Derek as a character at the minute. If you're looking at the series as a whole, because I think there's no sort of camaraderie between him and Sarah, although it's obviously deliberate.
Oh, Derek's like
the brother of Kyle. But I see the reason, but he always seems to be like the outlier of the rest of them, because he did come into the series later as well. It was always the 3 of them, John, Cameron.
Sort of dance you're doing there.
I like it. I don't know why. That feels good.
I remember it coming on, but I was pretty sure it was on like Sci-Fi on Sky or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was quite a big fanfare launch.
Yeah.
It was, and I mean, the first season I think was well received. Then the second season, I think the numbers dropped off pretty sharp. So instead of
I don't know why
greenlighting season 3,
because it's not. It's just as good. It's just as good. It's introducing new elements and that and all, which I think worked really well.
I think I'm not 100% sure. I should have looked into it really first, but I think what happened was they did greenlight a season 3, but before they got to the point where they released season 3, they canned it. So they must have been already producing them while season 2 was like getting finished off essentially. So they just kind of tacked on season 3 on the end of season 2,
so it's long.
and then rushed the ending basically.
I have a confession on that. I am the world's worst for watching season 1 of something and then
They're never watching the rest.
No, they can it.
Oh, they can it,
Anything
right,
I watch that I enjoy gets canned.
Aye.
Nova, something or other that was on Sky. It was about dinosaurs. I went back in time. Loved it. Stopped. Revolution. Have you watched something called that?
No,
It was
I haven't
about.
seen that.
It's kind of a story where the power goes off. So instead of it being zombies, the power goes off. There was 2 seasons of that. It was a brilliant show. So yeah, I am Jinx. Never watch something I tell you to watch.
It's a shame,
will
but
not
no.
tell you about anything coming up until like it's finished, and then you can watch it when it's
Well, I
finished.
started not watching anything so I saw there's 3 seasons.
I thought I was disappointed. I mean, the thing is, I watched, even though I don't remember a lot about Sarah Connor Chronicles right now, all of it, as in the rest of the season 2, I do remember it sort of ending, like as in it was given an ending. So I think
It was given an ending, but it was a rushed ending.
They've rushed it a bit, but it clearly feels like that at least they try to end it and say, well, look, it's not just on an open cliffhanger and never gets finished.
No.
Because that's extremely disappointing, So, but say what I've watched again so far at the minute, and I mean, that's riveting.
Well, I watched. I started watching the first season again, probably about 6 months back, and I got maybe 2 discs into, or like 4 episodes, 5 episodes maybe, and I just ended up watching something else instead. Not because I wasn't enjoying it; I just literally there was something else that I wanted to watch. And you know what a box set's like these days, you just binge and then move on to the next one. That's
so
basically
much.
what I was doing.
Yeah. I did the same with Sopranos back in the day.
That, and it's just inconvenient because it's on disc, so I've got to put it in the Xbox as opposed to sticking Netflix on and watching whatever's on there,
It's true.
But it is good, like really
overall,
good.
I mean, like I say, I have seen it before, so I do remember bits of what I haven't actually seen yet. But I think it's great. I think it's really well done. It's an excellent companion piece to the films. I mean, obviously it came out around at the time of Salvation.
Yeah.
So possibly slightly after, I think. because it's not linked at all to Salvation. It is its own thing, but it does link back to T1 and 2.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah, it
all.
does.
I don't think it's got any link. It doesn't say any obvious link to, like, say, T3 or Salvation, obviously. So it definitely they do touch on the history of 1 and 2. They reintroduce characters, different actors, of course, from 1 and 2, especially 2. And their stories are being developed. Like Enrique comes into it again, who's just a small character in 2. Dr. Silberman, which I would have loved to see is it Earl Bourne, what they call him? The guy who played Dr. Silberman in 1 and 2 and 3. So I would have loved to see, like, when the scene with him in, I would love to have been the actual actor, because I just would have, but it wasn't. So again, it's just character development as it is. So
I think we're going to move on to what we think could happen, and I brought up Alien Earth. Right?
Earl Bourne, that's right, yeah.
So I brought up Alien Earth because I just watched that, and I think it's great.
It is an excellent series.
The budgets that people have now for TV series means that, to me, films are dying a bit. They spend big budgets, big actors on TV series, and some of them are colossal.
Yeah.
So if you ask me where it's going, why can't they make a newer version of Sarah Connor Chronicles?
Well,
or a version of that, a Terminator series.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is the direction. And it feels like we've wandered into this now anyway, so might as well talk about it. But that could be a feasible direction for
I think
the
so.
I
series
keep
to go
hearing
next.
rumours that they are wanting to do another film. It's like,
Well, James Cameron's working on one now officially.
Okay.
do you know what it is, though? Like,
He's working on a new Terminator. It doesn't specifically say a new film.
I just so
I just
be anything
I
else.
just think series, generally series now on TV are big. They're big budget. They're very successful. They sell. Netflix are trying to buy.
The thing is,
Warner Brothers.
Do you know if they did a series? If they did another series, why not base that series in the war? So you haven't got a film based on the war.
Band of brothers with Terminators, basically.
But moving in that sort of that type of scope,
And like I say, the budgets are so big, it could be brilliant.
I mean,
really,
because obviously there's Terminator Chronicles. I mean, obviously with it being a series and two separate series, it's got a lot of more aspects than just like Terminator chases Terminator. Hero, as in human, or good Terminator fights off evil Terminator. There's nothing, there's little bits of that. Like there's certain episodes where I've just watched the episode there where Kuramati, who's the evil Terminator, actually goes into like the police station into the in Mexico or wherever it is, and it's like a little nod, it's a clear little nod back to T1 where he takes out the cops. It's a much smaller station, but you can see where the influence is from. But if they made a new film, why not look at what they did with Salvation and look at the scenes that they were putting in 1 and 2, and just see if they can take some aspects from that. And again, make it more about like not a group of survivors, but like an army of survivors. Where you've got obviously your main characters anyway, your leaders like John Connor and his wife, if he's got one in this story. Whatnot. And then
you can even do an alternative where that doesn't have any of those characters in. It doesn't have to be John Connor. The guy could work for him.
The thing as well is with the Terminators, right? Because we've already discussed, they're not just like one-sided tanks, killing machine tanks like in T1. They're just not. So it doesn't have to be like, it's all about the heroes, and then you've got occasionally like Terminators fighting and they have to destroy them and stuff. You can literally, I don't know if it would sound a bit cheesy, but you can literally see it from Skynet's point of view. I mean, you're not going to have Terminators talking to each other like Battlestar Galactica, like Cylons. You don't have that, because that they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't
sounds like
talk
we're
to each
getting
other.
more towards like Planet of the Apes.
Do you not? Well, exactly. That's what I mean, though. So you wouldn't want that.
I really like the new Battlestar Galactica, apart from Star.
But if you just at least you see it from what their factories and that, you see what they're doing to prisoners and that, you see the development of various models of Terminator through the series. Starting with like I've said before, there's an amazing.
What though? There could be almost a class war as well.
In
the way Terminators, the old Terminators, new Terminator.
What you just said, there's a website, right? There's a great website which is like a fan site, and he literally he's created history for fictional as in fictional. They weren't created for the Terminator world originally. Fictional Terminators from like the T100s and that all the way up to like obviously the TX and T1000 beyond and that, and he's created histories for these. So you've got like clankers, which are like just crap, you know, like early soldiers where they can be blown away by machine gun fire and whatnot, you know. And you're seeing the evolution of better models all the time and subsets of their models, just like you would in a real, you know, if you were making real units in like army units, you know, or aircraft or ships or tanks or something, you know. I've told you about this before, you know, and you could use all this history to create, you know, like I say, like basically a timeline of the start and the finish of the different types of terms. So like I said, you couldn't, like I said, they're not going to talk to each other like, you know, 2 T-800s or a leader of T-800s, 10 T-800s as a leader one talking to them. It doesn't work like that because that's not what you'd expect. It would be all binary, you know.
Well, yeah, that and it'll just be like basically it's almost
just
telepathy in the sense that it's just wirelessly collected.
So there wouldn't be, you wouldn't see things like that. Plus, it'd be ridiculous and cheesy, like I say, but at least you can just see their evolution and their side of.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the
you know,
war,
what's their end game?
Maybe Skynet has a bit more personality. So maybe I don't know.
Maybe they're it's a big AI cluster, Skynet, and it talks. You know, so just you know, what is the Terminator's end game? Because if they wipe us out, what do they plan to do next?
And that's never been explored.
It's funny because there's literally a video on YouTube which I don't think I've watched, and it's not that old, where a guy who covers that website, he's talking about that, and he even says, "No, do they really want to wipe out all humans? Because once they wipe out all humans, what's after that?"
Yeah, but imagine, so you could even go, really, once this, I'm kind of a bit mad now, but, you know, day one, most of us are dead, we've gone underground or whatever, and then we come back up, and there's these massive civilizations of robots, right?
Which goes back what we said in the comics.
You know, it's like, you could, it's such a brilliant franchise that all of these ideas could easily be happening, and I'd want to watch it.
That would make some sense then, because at that point you might even say, right, that because there's no humanity anymore, and because going back to what we said with Carl from Dark Fate, being able to have feeling, like almost like a facsimile of feelings and remorse, you might actually start to see a proper society of different turbo, say just T-800s even, actually taking on roles and jobs within a city in that whole world, and literally doing what like humans would do, like mimicking humans.
Because you almost see though then a no human program where the Terminators that have empathy end up fighting against the ones that don't. Well, because war is like one constant in the world. It always happens.
You mean like a rebellious faction that haven't been reprogrammed? They've literally stood back and thought this is wrong.
Yeah, so it's a Terminator versus Terminator.
Yeah,
I mean, who knows?
No, it's good. It's a thought.
Then all we need to do is just inject aliens into it and predators, and then you've really got and RoboCop, and you've really got
patent pending.
Drop it. Right.
But I'd love to see. I'd personally love to see a big film that I go to pictures to see, because I've been to see them all, apart from the first one, so I was too young, obviously.
And two,
yeah. Sorry,
two back the day.
But at the same time, I think I would definitely appreciate like a series, because then I've got something to look forward to for several weeks in a row.
Do you know what it is? I know this is going to be a bit of a sobering thought, and I don't want to be a dampener, at the end of the podcast, but the Terminator films haven't done well for a while, though. They just haven't done well for a while. And the sad thing is, like we've already discussed, right?
And Dark Fate was good.
The films aren't bad. I mean, they've got some bad. Some people are still, this one's shit, that one's shit. It's like, to me, I know it's one bloke's personal opinion, or three really, but none of the films are actually bad to the point where that was a disgrace. I could never watch that again. There's not one single film I wouldn't watch again.
I think it's part of a wider discussion on how people are not going to the cinema.
Avatar's out.
The new Avatar film, I haven't watched the second one. I have no interest in the third one.
Is it just not that Terminator peak was T2?
Quite possibly,
I mean, the thing is, right, I know it's only two films, I mean, the thing is, the film, the story ended with T2, really. It did. I mean, it could have ended there. It's only that, like, how can we continue the series? So we'll make T3, we'll make this happen, we'll make that happen, then we'll...
It felt
do you know what I mean? The only viable film that could have ever really came out of T1 and 2 was Salvation, or a version of it. We talk about a pre-war.
I think Dark Fate did a good job to continue it on.
Link stuff.
But it's too... Let's just... Not because it's so late. It's so late compared to the original. So again, it's an afterthought. It's an afterthought.
Yeah,
I think if they did three films, a trilogy, the third film could have been a prequel to one that would have led into it could have ended with Kyle going back in time, and that would be like.
I mean,
you see the future war.
If you really want to get thinking about it, you know, some of it's greed. They make films because we will go and watch it because we're the Terminator fans.
And I think that's why the quality they do dip a little bit, possibly.
Same with the Alien films. You know, Alien 3 was a poor film. You know,
see,
I enjoyed it.
do you know what it is?
It wasn't as good as the Aliens.
It's almost it's a mirror. Weird. Aliens mirrors Terminator. It's amazing, does it? It does. And I personally like Alien 3 because I like shot in the Northeast and all. And I like the cast. I like the cast, but I do. I like what they're trying to do. But you're right. You're right.
Now, we look like
it's
Prometheus.
A total step back from Aliens.
You look at Prometheus and stuff like that in that franchise. They're not great films.
I like Prometheus.
I've enjoyed them.
I don't enjoy Covenant as much, but I like Prometheus.
I found it a bit pretentious.
I'm somebody who quite like Resurrection. I thought like just where they went with the story and that. Now I thought, but again, maybe I'm just easy pleased. But
the same with Predator. The
Aliens is the best.
Requiem and all of that. I think they've saved the franchise at the moment, and that's why I think you can say not save it, but Terminator can be saved by a very good television series. I mean, Fallout's on at the moment. What a cracking! You know, a lot of TV series at the moment when they go in our wheelhouse are very good at the moment. Twisted Metal, you know, there's some great stuff out there.
If you were to, here's just a little thought at the end of the podcast here, right? But if you were to put Alien, Predator, and the Terminator franchises together and compare them right now, which ones would you say at the moment? Which franchise would you say at the moment is at its strength compared to the best?
I'm going to say Aliens for now.
Because what, from a success of Alien Earth, maybe?
I'll say I haven't seen that, remember, so you can talk about that, but the last film I thought I enjoyed.
Because here's something, I never hear anybody talk about Alien or Terminator, but Predator. Yes, plenty at the moment.
It's Predator for me.
Because of the new film.
And also
there's a lot of material out there.
But
definitely not Terminator. Predator, out of the three, not Terminator at the minute, because there's nothing being made for a while. Anyway. Well, zero, like obviously.
I think they did a good thing. They made a different angle. You said with Prey for a Predator, and it was a very good film.
Yeah.
They did. I got a bit of a soft spot for Predator, I think, actually, because I quite like Predator too.
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people won't agree.
Predators, but I think it's because people are like, "Where's Arnie? Where's
the one where they hunt them all in the
jungle,
in the forest?" I enjoyed that as well.
Could be Predator. Predator, the fourth one. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
that wasn't shot by.
I think that's right.
Well, I only like that because of Thomas Jane.
Is that the Alien Body one? Alien.
No. So they all all of these warriors get dropped in a forest.
Yeah,
and they set traps for them.
That's three. That is Alien.
No, it's not.
That's it.
You see, the next one was
wasn't there Requiem and stuff like that.
Oh,
that's the underground one and all that.
That's Alien Requiem.
That was AVP 2. Requiem.
Oh,
that's
terrible.
So that wasn't good.
That was the worst.
No, that wasn't good.
I thought, well, all right, but
I fell asleep in the pictures. The only time I ever fell asleep in a cinema was watching AVP 2.
Predator.
I didn't like those.
I had a drink first, like, so didn't.
The Predators. The fourth one was shot by Shane Black.
Yeah,
who starred in the original Predator, and I liked it again. I liked the film; it was a decent film. But 1 and 2, I mean, I personally loved. To be honest with you, right, this is going to be a bit controversial, but I sort of like. This is controversial. I sort of like Murtigan. Is that what he's called?
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. But Hartigan, I think. Played by Danny Glover. I sort of like him a bit more than Dutch, played by Arnie the first one, because he is the everyman and he's got to stand up against where Arnie's. I know people would say so, but
where's his one-liners?
I can't.
He hasn't got any.
He doesn't need them.
I can't agree with that.
But
I enjoyed it because it was a period of time where they, like that to me. You could have had the Predator and RoboCop in the same film because the way the architecture was the same.
Detroit,
Coming back to your argument, Glenn, how many memes does Hartigan have? None, right? How many memes does Predator's Arnold Schwarzenegger have?
Well, also
infinite.
Let's not forget
success is judged by memes today. Come on,
let's not forget that when Apollo Creed gets shot, you can actually see his arm sellotaped.
Oh, yeah.
That's Carl Will, isn't it?
Yeah, Carl Will. But just coming back to that thought, so I've had quite a few people in the last month or two say, "Have you watched Predator Badlands yet? It's fantastic." And the answer is no. Unfortunately, I haven't yet. No one mentioned Alien Earth. to us.
No, not a
it's
lot.
me who's been mentioning that to people.
Yeah, agree.
And Terminator, obviously nothing.
There's nothing at the moment.
Yeah. But it's like, for me, I think definitely at the moment,
Alien Earth, like at some point.
Predator's definitely up there at the moment. It seems to have enjoyed quite a bit of resurgence, to be honest.
Yeah.
And maybe to a smaller extent, Aliens. But I do think the Alien, they needed to finish off the Covenant story and the Prometheus
Isn't it interesting,
story.
though, that I said a minute ago that I think that series is the way to go?
Yeah.
Actually, Predators have gone for films.
Yeah, and it's worked.
It's worked.
Yeah, that's it.
Actually worked.
Again, come back what you said a little bit earlier ago as well. Cinema has definitely declined a lot in the recent couple of, it's probably 2 or 3 years, to be honest.
It's like pubs with it. It's a natural.
But then I see cinemas opening up still, so clearly there's hope, and they know something, otherwise they wouldn't be opening a cinema and they wouldn't be getting the money to do that if there wasn't an expectation.
We've got to watch brand new films on. There's nobody
Cinemas
there.
have changed. So you go to the new one here, the Omniplex. It's lovely because the seats are great.
Oh, really
the
comfy.
experience is nice. There's one called Everyman. I don't know if there's any here. They'll bring food to your, like a proper meal while you're watching the film.
Yeah.
You know, then you can have a drink. There's a bar. You know, they're kind of changing the way. But I think if the right film comes out, we're all going to go and watch it. Running Man's a good example.
Well, that was amazing. Running Man was 10 out of 10 for me. But we're going tomorrow night to watch the new Silent Hill, which honestly, I didn't even know it was out yet.
I didn't know.
Glenn
told me.
said it was on Monday.
Didn't know.
Do you want to go and watch a Silent Hill movie? I was like, it's not out till like later in the year, is it? It's like, oh no, it's out now. I haven't seen a single trailer, haven't seen a poster anywhere, nothing. Nothing on Google, nowhere.
I mean, we're going in with low expectations because I think we're expected to. I don't think it'll be that bad. I mean, there's a group of people out there who love to just shit on things anyway, so it's just like, it doesn't matter. I'd rather go in with low expectations because we might come out and go, I think it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, if I come out and say, it was a 6 out of 10, I'll be happy. It's only £9 a ticket.
You still have enjoyed it. Yeah, that's
exactly,
the good thing. Point of it. I was going to you raise there though quickly on the cinema. I think some of the cinemas are really expensive. Like Cineworld is expensive,
£15 compared to like
the
£9
cinema there.
on
If you go on the right day, it can be £6.
Yeah,
and there's nothing better than watching a good film at the cinema.
Yeah,
it still holds the magic for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially now in this modern age with Dolby Atmos 2 coming in the future, and obviously the Dolby Vision and everything.
Well, I love the fact they're re-releasing stuff. You know. Hopefully Turtles is going to come back out. Well, I'll definitely watch that. And back
Turtles
to the
Turtles will get in. Well,
Magnetic.
Turtles will come back around again. It enjoyed a bit of success of the two.
Oh no, so no, the anniversary edition's on. You see.
Ah, right, okay.
So and it's in America. It's come out.
I fancy watching the first two back to back. I mean, the first one, The Secret of Views. They was shite. Like, I don't know what. I watched the video on that.
And Back to the Future. It's the anniversary now. And they're putting that back in cinemas.
I cannot believe that they have not had a sequel. Like Hollywood rehash or remake or anything.
Robert Zemeckis won't allow them.
What? Sorry?
Robert Zemeckis will not allow them to do it.
Good. I'm glad because they shouldn't touch them. They're timeless.
I wonder if they're not touching it as well because of
Martin J. Fox.
Well, no, what's going on with him? Yeah,
Zemeckis owns it and he won't allow them. And also, those films are exceptionally clever films because he's put things in the first film ready for the third film.
Yeah,
and it's
very,
very well thought out. But anyway, that's another subject.
You know, didn't really, especially for the future sequels, like, how do I incorporate that?
We're talking about to put Terminator 1 together, so Terminator Genesis could repeat that scene. They were thinking like, what, 27 years later?
He had the original like trainers, no?
Exactly. Did a good job.
Bloody hell.
But is there anything else, or shall we end it there, boys?
Well, I'll just quickly mention that since we are talking about the Terminator franchise as a whole, the only thing I think we've missed is the fact that there are toys, including like figures and board games and probably napkins and cups.
Do you remember the the collectible magazines where you could get the parts of the Terminator?
You could make one. That reminds me of something else. That reminds me of a play set I seen watch, which I've wanted for ages. I think it came after T2. It was what it was is right. You got a T800 endoskeleton and you would put it in like a vat and you could make flesh.
Oh, I remember that.
Like a rubber,
Aye,
like a
I remember
rubbery
that,
sort
aye.
of. Aye.
Well,
And
you dipped
would
it.
come out, yeah, you dipped it in a flesh and
No,
then set.
was it dipped,
Aye.
was it?
I'd either dipped
Aye.
or poured in, and it
Poured
would
over it,
set,
aye, I
and
remember.
it would look like a tea under with flesh on it. It was
I remember
really
those-
clever at the time.
I remember the magazines type things where you would
the
buy.
kit side, yeah.
One of my
With the
biggest
metal as
life,
well. Metal
one of my
figures, aye.
biggest life regrets is not buying that series of magazines.
Yeah, and you got it in a folder, and you get a little piece every
you
month,
get a
every
piece
week.
every
yeah?
time.
Yeah, yeah.
You assemble
No,
your own T1. I think it was like a 12-inch model when it was finished.
I mean, I think if you go into somewhere like Forbidden Planet today, there'll
Yeah.
be lots of Terminator merchandise you could buy.
There is. You
T-shirts.
buy like a full-size and
Warhead
T1,
and that's in the heads.
T800 skull
Yeah,
and everything.
aye.
With
Yeah, but-
like the LED eyes, a lot.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
they're not cheap at all.
it's iconic. I think my personal ending would be it's an iconic franchise that will never go away. And the one-liners, the general feel of it from what it was, action film, but as you rightly said, Glenn, it was a slasher film. It was something with atmosphere, the first one, to all out one of the best films, action films or stories you can
But the
watch
thing is,
into.
it-
But it still carried on.
It fits it
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, there's even some romantic elements in the first one.
Yeah.
It's a sci-fi, you know.
Yes.
You know, it's even in the later films, especially 2 and definitely 3, although for the wrong ways, incorporate a little bit of humour. Although I think 3 went silly with the humour, which did ruin the film a bit. You know,
I think
Elton John glasses and things and stuff
Yeah.
like. Where 2 had this nice balance because it was humour within,
Perfect.
like meta humour.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this looks funny because he's got stupid glasses on. It was just like jokes between John
was-
and the Terminator.
there was
things
warmth,
where
there was
you take
warmth.
this
It was
warm
warmth,
warm
yeah.
humour, you know.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like making fun of a character at the expense of something else. You know, it was literally, you know, like you say, it was
I
more
think-
within the story, and it was just character development. It was
and I
great.
think with some of the films
know?
we didn't
T3
we
was
didn't think were as good.
Drop the
They
ball.
don't say we didn't like. They didn't have that element. And that's why Terminator 2 probably is so spot on.
Yeah.
You know, and
For me, it's still the greatest action film of all time. And
it's
it's
certainly up
it's
there.
the first action film I'm going to watch with my daughter, hopefully in the next, month or two. I keep saying she's going to watch it with us, but right now she's got the attention span of a frog. Lasts about 2 seconds. That's what she likes, YouTube shorts. I think that's what's happened there.
Yeah, that's not
TikTok's destroyed her.
Yes, well, not TikTok. She's never even seen TikTok, but yeah, YouTube Shorts has absolutely destroyed our attention span. So a tip for the people out there, if you've got young kids, don't let them anywhere near YouTube Shorts. It's too late for me.
16-year-old bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But let's end it there then. If you've enjoyed what you've listened to today, please drop us a review on your chosen platform. It really helps with pulling other viewers in. Please share as well, if you don't mind. Share the podcast with friends, family. Stick a post on Facebook telling everyone how amazingly good we are.
I'm also thinking as well, if you can think of any unusual Terminator-related items or products that we might not have covered, maybe just make a mention in the comments, just something like unique that we might have missed. We didn't cover all the games because there's that many to cover, so we generally just stuck with it.
Well, to be honest, most of them will probably fall into the bad movie game tie-in.
We will quickly say Terminator Salvation is a fantastic game in the arcade. That's a great show.
That is a
we didn't
fantastic
mention
game.
that one, meant to. And any other Terminator game really doesn't really stick out so much, you know, apart from obviously the classic that's just come out.
But yeah, I think this is this is an unrehearsed podcast of 3 guys that quite like each other's company and pick something a subject we enjoy.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed it, and if there's something else you want us to discuss, we'll happily do that.
Definitely, yeah.
Maybe Predator or Aliens next time.
Pop some ideas over, and we'll definitely explore it. 'Cause,
We'll pick maybe like the 80s, and we'll talk about Highlander, Aliens, Terminator. Why not?
New Highlander coming soon with Drew McIntyre from WWE as well. As,
What was it?
Check that out.
He's Conor McLeod's brother in it.
Right.
So he's not got to lead the
See,
part.
by the way, quickly, but not remember the nightmare. I should have shut up. But the Highlander TV series was very good.
It
Yeah,
was
it
good.
was good.
Yeah, I
It
watched
was
that. I did.
I remember that.
Well, quickly, I'm quite for starting something else. So quickly, very quickly. But the series as well did not have like the main carried out the later couple of films.
Yes.
Yeah, because Jason somebody
I can't remember his
can't
name.
his name, but he was
He
in
was a
the,
handsome fella.
Ah, he was.
Oh.
Definitely. Long, looked like a
Gorgeous.
mullet. He starred in the last couple of films, and that then transitioned over to obviously the series when they
series.
killed off
Very good series.
Conor McLeod.
I might try and get the box set. I wouldn't
Well,
mind
watch
watching
I
it.
would watch that back. I enjoyed that.
Got that.
Right.
And let's end it there. Thank you very much, everyone. Like I said, please drop us a review, share the channel with other people, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much for listening. Good night.
Good night. God bless.
Guys.
Bye now.
Bye.